So, good morning world. Here we are, the two blondes, Lucy and Fee. We've just woken up on Dartmoor. We're wild camping this morning, and so far we have heard a stonechat, a cuckoo, some sheep, and what we suspect was a very large warthog.
This is Lucy, blonde one. I've enjoyed wild camping on Dartmoor with Fee, and I've especially enjoyed waking up to a beautiful misty morning. You might think that misty is bad news, but on Dartmoor misty is beautiful.
So last night we walked out from Princetown for about an hour and a half with our big rucksacks on our backs. We only encountered two people, so there aren't very many people out here this morning, I don't think. And we had to put our torches on eventually. We arrived at our campsite at about 11 o'clock, pitched our tent, and then got ourselves cosy. We never go to sleep straight away because there's always lots to talk about, obviously. The really nice thing about camping wild is that you can lie and talk as long as you want to, because you know you're not disturbing anybody at all, apart maybe from the warthog. We've just had a really funny incident. A couple of walkers have gone past, and we were discussing whether or not people would stop and find out if you were all right if you were in a tent, how long people would leave a tent and not question what was going on. So these walkers went past and shouted morning at us, so we just had a little conversation from the tent with some nice walkers. We've just been sitting here pondering the question, why go wild camping? And we're not really sure. I think one of the things is that it's quite an exciting thing to do. It's out of the ordinary, not everybody does it, and it means that you can feel quite pleased with yourself, feel that you've achieved something, feel that you've done something interesting and exciting. Of course, the other thing is you get to sleep in the most beautiful natural environments. Maybe not places that you would consider to be beautiful, but then when you wake up in the morning and look at somewhere in all its early morning mistiness or early morning sunshine, it just looks absolutely fantastic, and you know you're away from the world, nothing's going to disturb you, and that you can take your time drinking your coffee and taking in the view.
Of course, the other reason we wild camp is we're very keen on encouraging other people to get outside. So when we wild camp, we take note of where we are, of the rules and regulations, and make sure we stick to them completely, so that when we talk to other people, encourage them to do the same, we know exactly what to tell them, we know exactly how to advise them to do it correctly, so that we're not disturbing and upsetting anybody else. I'm
going to let you listen to a noise for a moment, see if you can pick it up. Now, rain on a tent isn't a noise that all campers want to hear, but when you're wild camping, it kind of doesn't matter, because you can take your time getting up. A tent's going to be wet in the morning anyway, whether it's hot weather or wet weather, and something about being in a tent and looking out at the wild environment and just feeling sheltered in the rain is just really fantastic. It makes you feel that you're at one with the elements.
The two blondes have pitched tents in some very unusual places, but I think this pitch that we found last night is probably the steepest slope that we've ever pitched on. Of course, when you pitch in the dark, you're not quite 100% sure of how flat your spot is going to be. We knew that there was no rocks, we knew that there was no big tufts of grass or lumps in the grass that were going to disturb us and hurt our backs, but what we didn't quite figure was how slopey it was last night. So this morning we found ourselves scrunched up at the bottom of our tents. We did some significant sliding. The sleeping bag slid on the roll mats slid on the ground sheet of the tent, the pillows slid all over the place, mine even slid itself outside of its pillowcase, and we're pretty much scrunched up in the bottom of the tent now, a little bit soggy because we're also scrunched up together.
People often ask us, what do you take when you go wild camping? And the real answer, the only answer really, is as little as you can possibly get away with. Having said that, there are a few essentials. You need a roll mat or a sleeping mat, something to sleep on to keep you warm, something to just give a little bit of comfort when you're lying on the floor. You need a tent, obviously, although we have spent some time using bivvy bags and shelters as well. You need a decent sleeping bag, but if you can take your smaller sleeping bag because it's nice weather and get away with it, do. If you're going wild camping in February, which we have done lots and lots of times, then you need to take lots of clothes to wear inside your sleeping bag. But don't take exciting books and lights and heavy things. You don't want to be carrying those all the way across Dartmoor as you look for your beautiful wild camping pitch. We're very lucky down here in Devon because the Dartmoor National Park is the only place where you're legally allowed to wild camp in England, and we want everybody to be aware of that, but we also want everybody to be aware that there are some rules and regulations and some common sense things that you really need to think about doing.
The first thing we advise people before they come wild camping on Dartmoor is to look at the Dartmoor National Park website. On that website there's a very handy colour-coded map of Dartmoor showing you the areas that you are allowed to wild camp without seeking the landowner's permission. It's not everywhere, as some people mistakenly believe. You have to check that map to make sure that you're in the right place. Then you have to remember when you're wild camping that you're out of sight of any dwelling and any road. So if you can see a road from your site that you propose to put your tent, then you have to move. And even if you're out of sight, you have to be at least 100 metres away from a dwelling and from a road. And obviously it goes without saying that you need to make sure that you're not disturbing any of the many amazing antiquities that you find on Dartmoor.
So for this Dartmoor wild camp we chose to camp out near King's Tor. King's Tor is a nice one because it's nice and easy to get to. If you want to, you can follow the railway track from Princetown round, or there's lots of other paths as well you can follow. If you want to do a little bit of navigating off the track, you can do that as well. And there's lots of little areas around King's Tor for you to explore and to see where you can put your tent. It's quite good to have a little look round if you want to in the daytime before you come and do your wild camp, so you can earmark yourself a little spot, and you can also tell more easily in the daytime whether or not you're sticking to the wild camping rules. And in the morning, don't just pack and go, have a little explore around. For example, here at King's Tor there's some very interesting pieces of stone. Some of them were used for London Bridge. Have a good look around, don't waste the experience, don't waste your environment, enjoy it while you're out there.